JB here. Tuesday, July 16th. Welcome to Small Caps Tuesday. And sense my sarcasm, Monster Rally in small caps. Again, this morning, small cap futures are up nearly 1%. Just had retail sales data come out flat, but estimates are for a small decline. I think it's almost like a Goldilocks situation. You didn't want to have to decline, and there's always going to be these folks who are going to talk about the pending recession coming. But I think that just perfectly the perfect number, so it keeps the Fed on pace to cut rates in September, and we move on. Earnings this week, so there's been banks. Morgan Stanley is down this morning. I guess they had a miss. Yeah, you also had uh, who's one? Bank of America, and they're up a little bit. So kind of a mixed bag of earnings. Thursday's the big day. I keep saying about Thursday, but we'll have Netflix after the close and Intuitive Surgical. And then the following week, the fun really starts to begin. But you look at the SPY, the upper Bollinger Band on the SPY is 562.69. We came pretty much right up to that here in the pre-market. So watching that as possible resistance. And then on the flip side, maybe down at 559 lows from yesterday. I expect it to be a little choppy again. And if there's a thing, I wouldn't say is a caution sign, but it's that the VIX always it has me a little, I wouldn't say on edge, but when the market was at highs last week and we had to pull back, the VIX didn't move too much, and then yesterday was up 6-7%, closed up 5%. So just something I'm watching. I mean, it just means maybe there's folks hedging a little more, but you just hope it's not positioning for a huge decline. So definitely one I'll be watching. And then just take a look at the small caps, just a monster run. 235 and change is the November 2021 high on the IWM. So I would not be surprised to see that get hit at some point before the summer's over. And I have been saying it for so long. Hopefully this provides at least some support for the overall market, or even a tailwind for the rest of the market. So that's overall market. Excuse me. And then individual names. So BIDU sold off nearly 6% yesterday, was down even more than that at times. Weaker than expected China economic data weighed on all the China ADRs. So it gets pulled down with the whole basket of names, which is unfortunate. Held around 90, 91, 92. If that holds again today, maybe I'll look to add some more strikes. My August 110s are still up over 100%. So I might just hold those for now, just in case there is more downside, and then take advantage of if we get to pull the 88 or so on BIDU. That'd be my trigger point, even if there's more selling, because I think that's it. And a lot of the AI stuff is not baked in, and so on and so forth. So I'll be watching BIDU. Thankfully, I locked my July strikes in, right? That's always got to be closing, right? I say always be hedging, always closing when you can, take profits when you can, because you never know what, especially with China stocks. Overnight, there's always these wild moves in the Hang Seng or some of the other indexes, and then the next morning there's gaps. And sometimes they're gaps to the upside, which is great, but when they're gaps to the downside, that's no fun. So that's Baidu. A Square, just a monster breakout after its consolidation. The longer the base, the higher in space, right? Is that that's what they say. uh, We'll see. It's gapping again this morning, almost up near 73. I was looking for some August strikes. They're probably going to report earnings. They haven't announced the date, but it's probably going to be the first week of August. I think last year was August 2nd. The year before was August 3rd. So you would have to assume Square's going to announce earnings somewhere in the first week of August. So I want to get some calls to at least encompass that, and maybe there'll be a slight or even a large premium build if they do announce the earnings date. I think 80 is a good target without the earnings. So maybe over the course of the next couple of weeks, and then maybe if there's a big beat and raise, it can get above that March level, 87.50 or so. I would not be surprised to see some swings, and you saw it at the open yesterday. Sold off into the red and then just rallied. And then you have this backdrop of the Bitcoin. So as long as crypto keeps rallying, I think that just adds more bids to Square and provide some support. So just a monster rally already. At some point, there'll be some kind of pull. But for now, I'll take this gap here. And it might just lock the rest of the 72.50s in today, and then just look for the August strikes. So that's Square. Roku, which I haven't talked about in the last couple of days, two back-to-back decent sessions, closed up nearly 2% yesterday. Similar name as well as going to you have, and I used to think that, well, Roku used to have sympathy moves when Netflix reported earnings, because as they report subscriber ads, it's either net bullish, net bearish for Roku. So I don't know. this quarter round is if Netflix earnings are going to push it up or down. So that's kind of one of the possible catalysts that I'd be looking at. And then also their earnings as well, which will be out in a couple of weeks. So still have my August strikes, which are still doing nice as well. I might look for some higher strikes just in case there's a huge beat and raise for Roku and the stock. It's been volatile before. It's rallied 35% on earnings, especially when it's beaten down, which Roku has been. So could be a nice risk reward there. So don't be surprised if you see me add some strikes again on Roku. HPQ, it's not really one, it's not the most sexiest name. It doesn't move much, but what it does do is it provides inexpensive options that when it does move in the right direction over the course of a couple of days and weeks, those options turn into 500,000%, so on and so forth. So take a look at this big bounce off the lows. I think it's going to come up and test those June levels after its earnings, 39 and change. And then I was saying a couple weeks ago, I think 40 plus is almost a foregone conclusion. A lot of the business they have is back half loaded, so that's where the business for AI for them really starts to pick up. So don't be surprised. I still have some 38s which came back to life a little bit yesterday. Those are freebies, and then I have the August 40s which are in the green. They're not up too much. But I'll continue to look for opportunities to do HPQ. I might look for September strikes on HPQ. So that's HPQ. Universal Display. My calls expire on Friday. It's above that upper Bollinger Band. It's not the most liquid name, so there could be just a little bit of selling, and the premiums will just get eroded on the call. So I locked my 230 strikes for 100%. I I probably, as much as I think it's going to head to 255 in the coming weeks, I'll probably just hold off on adding any more until there's a pullback. That's Universal Display. Unity just a chop all the way down. I think it hit 1680 at the open yesterday, and then all the way back to no, it's 1656, pretty much 10 minutes after the open from a 1740 gap, and then all the way back up to 7040, and then chopped around for the rest of the day before closing down 1%. Frustrating, but at some point there's going to be a breakout, and it's going to be over 20 bucks. So I'll continue to look for opportunities to play Unity for upside. And then last but not least here is Terns Pharmaceuticals. Finally added a zero, tested at 10 handle. Looks like there's a lot of supply there. Like folks have orders in there from years ago or when it was $4 that, hey, if it hits a double, I'm going to close my position. So it looks like there's going to be some supply that needs to be broke through. There's going to have to be a lot of buying pressure. So once it gets over 10 bucks and holds that, I think it's off to races, 11, 12. And then we always have that backdrop of M&A or possible the release of data. And once that happens, there could be, could be binary events. So I think that's it. I'm trying to think of some of the other things, other names, Roku, Celsius, just so disappointing. It seems like I don't know if that's the end of its momentum run for a while. So I'll probably just sit on the sidelines until I see another opportunity to add some strikes. But that one just got pummeled yesterday. No news that I could really see. Chewy's over 27 bucks. You never know with that one. There could just be, some other catalyst with Roaring Kitty. Maybe he does his live stream at some point, announces at midday, and the stock goes bonkers. Wolf Research did initiate coverage, but it was a pure perform rating. There was no price target, so I don't know if that does much for the stock, but hopefully it rallies. Trying to think of some of the other names here. I think that's about it for now. I'll be on the audio later. Let's have a great day, folks. Rock and roll.